Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you today for the Living a Life of Abundance live stream. If you don't know Mo and I, we'd love to give you some introductions before we get started. Mo, tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then I'll go after
Ooh.
you for those who may not know you.
Yeah, you know how I introduce myself now? I
Yeah.
am a digitally independent entrepreneur who does expansive things in expansive places with expansive people.
Okay.
That's
I
how I
love
introduce.
that. I love
But
that.
in the traditional sense, I'm Maurice Philogene. I am kind of out of the work world per se, out of the typical corporate or W-2 work world. Like Amy, I'm in the entrepreneurial space through real estate, but I also coach in lifestyle design and wealth attainment and going after financial freedom, all kinds of things like that. And I live between East Coast Maryland and Beirut, Lebanon now, which has been a joy for me. So I get to work in unique places with unique people, yourself included.
I love it. I love it. And everyone, before I introduce myself, please let us know where you're coming from in the chat. You see me turning my head, it's because I got two screens and a lot of sunshine on me. And so I'm looking at what you all are talking about in the chat. I may need to close my blinds. But my name is Amy Sylvis. I am the CEO and founder of Sylvis Capital in a lot of sunlight all of a sudden. I know
Yeah,
there
right.
were a ton of clouds and they just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But we connect people to real estate investing opportunities for hands-off income. I'm going to have you all give me just 2 seconds so you all can see me.
Yep.
Yep. This is live. This is real life.
That's the way life goes, my friend.
Exactly it. This is how
Yeah.
live goes. We're going to shut the
Yeah.
blinds. Amazing. All right. So Mo and I have known each other for over 5 years now, and some of you may know about our relationship. We'd love to kind of give you some context there, and then talk about this thing we share in common, which you all probably share with us in common too, called abundance. So Mo and I met 5 years ago. He was on a podcast I was listening to, and
Mm.
he was only the second person in my life, my uncle being my first, my crazy fun uncle who I love, but I just never really understood what he was talking about. And wasn't talking about, this is a real estate podcast. He wasn't talking about money and fancy cars and, being all blinged out and like, all these things that maybe culture teaches us. Mo was talking about freedom. He was
Mm.
talking about the ability to do what he wanted, his family, lifestyle design. I was like, wait a minute, this guy is speaking something that I had no idea was that anyone else thought about. I thought I was alone.
Yeah.
And so, Mo, you can probably elaborate on that. But gosh, 5 years later, we've done over $80 million in real estate together. But
Yeah.
more importantly, we've helped other people invest and develop their freedom. And we care a lot about this topic called abundance. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, Mo, for folks that are familiar with that topic, maybe that aren't familiar with it, how do you define abundance in your life
Oh
and how do you
man,
live
how do
that?
I define abundance?
Yeah.
Well, it has to be how I define freedom, which is doing what you want, when you want, how you want, having the mental and physical space to be able to do that. You and I talk about five freedoms a lot: time
Mm,
freedom, financial freedom, location or geographic freedom, which again has nothing to do with travel. Nothing. It is about mobility to be able
mm.
to engage people, jump on opportunities, etc. And then freedom of purpose and freedom of building awesome relationships like this, including the people who are probably on the live right now.
Yeah.
I never had a problem. Real estate for me has never been a thing about money. When I started doing real estate or recognized real estate at age 21, and then I did my first deal when I was age 26 after saving a down payment for 5 years. I, yes, I wanted money, but what I was truly going after was time. I wanted to be able to control my time. It has always been about time. And even though I was in the work world for 25 years in those three careers, police, military, and consulting, there came a point in my journey in 2014 where financially I was okay. I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have that pressure of, man, if I get laid off, I'm going to struggle or anything like that. I just was able to work because I wanted to. It became a very
Mm.
purpose-driven thing for me, especially when I became a police officer. But real estate drove that because it generates passive income, generates tax benefits, and most important, it just puts you in control of your life. There are other assets as well, but you and I have just jumped on this real estate train and we've never gotten off.
I love that. I think in
Mm.
this day and age, I mean, if anyone that's watching the recording, this is March of 2025. We're hearing about layoffs. We're hearing about, austerity measures, government cuts,
Mhm.
tariffs. This isn't political, just talking about what people are feeling. There's uncertainty in this world, regardless of, your political flavor. We're not going there. And so I think what you say, Mo, resonates deeply. And I think our audience, I'm seeing some folks say this in the chat as well,
Mm.
that this ability to take control more of their time, their income, who they spend their time with,
Yeah.
where on this beautiful green earth they are. This isn't just available to the Mo's and the Amy's of the world. This is available to everybody. It's not overnight. It's not
Yeah.
something that maybe culture teaches us, but it's available if you understand the steps and you have that strategy and intention.
Yeah, I think any entrepreneurial endeavor is available. It doesn't have to be real estate. It could be starting a small business. It could be having a passion project that you're doing online. It's just that why not be intentional about grabbing what it is you want out of life? And to be clear, my life, my abundant life heavily includes traditional employment. Heavily. I liked being a consultant. I liked being a police officer. I really enjoyed deploying for the military and running field offices as a federal agent around the world. It's just that when we're talking about an abundant life does mean, from my perspective, is just being in control. And
Mm,
in a lot of cases, all right, so you talked about the fact that you and I have done 80 million of real estate together, and we've done a fair amount separately as well. But I never want people to think that that's what it takes. It doesn't. It
right.
doesn't. For me, there was a freedom number I was focused on. It was $6,400 a month. I recognize that if I would buy real estate and pay it off over decades, I'm not talking about months. I did this over decades, but pay off little pieces of real estate, I could generate that $6,400 a month. That happened to me somewhere in 2014, where the money covered my basic needs. And once your basic needs are covered, life really opens in a way that most people don't understand. It's just different because you are beholden to no one, to no thing. You can feed your family, you can feed yourself, you can pay your bills. And I'm not talking about like flying all over the world, big money and stuff like that. But folks just have to recognize what their monthly, not only recognize it, Amy, but also take responsibility for what that monthly number is.
Mm,
Consumerism is killing people, killing people.
yeah.
And then folks wonder why, hey, I got to go to work. Well, you're on your 10th car payment. You're on your fifth credit card. You're just buying junk because we're just kind of what's been rammed into us for decades and decades and I don't blame people because that's
Right.
what media is. That's what we learned in school. We learned to compete with each other. So then I'm buying this suit to look good at the office. Now I got to pay for that. And it's
Yeah.
just a cycle. It's a cycle. But from an abundance perspective, knowing that monthly number is a very powerful tool.
I love that. What I love, Mo, that you highlight that there are many different approaches because my
Yeah.
story is different than yours. I'm at a different stage than you. For those who
Mm,
don't know my background, I worked in biotech for 13 years, loved it,
yeah. Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Part of the reason I loved it is I was born with a genetic illness that impacted my lungs called cystic fibrosis. I was supposed to live to be 8 or 9 years old. I'm 43. I color my hair,
Mm.
so you can't quite tell, but it's okay. We
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
signs of aging. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, as I was running this on the corporate treadmill, which I enjoyed, I love that you bring up that this 9 to 5, this W-2 life can be wonderful. It just,
Yeah.
it's all about taking control. But I was finding myself getting more and more sick. I was in and out of the hospital 2 weeks at a time with
Mm.
virulent lung infections. It's really hard to hold down a job when you are sick and unable to work. I had incredible employers that were very understanding, but I found myself medically retired at age 34.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was wild. My friends were getting married, having kids, buying houses, traveling, building their lives. And I was just stuck. And I
Yeah.
was determined to find a way that mom and dad are amazing, incredible people that sacrificed everything to give me a great life. But I didn't want to go back to them hat in hand, asking for more support while they were in their 60s and I was in their 30s. They would have given it to me, but I was determined to find a way, even if I was sick, to generate income, cover my bills, have, I
Yeah.
guess, my own sense of freedom, my own sense of autonomy in what felt like a really kind of chaotic and um, crazy time. So that got me into real estate.
Yeah.
Unlike you, you took the single family route.
Yeah.
You
Very different.
built from there. We've done the deals that we've done together have been multifamily or
Yeah.
apartments.
Yeah.
I've done apartments. There is no one way. As you said, some people do oil and gas. Some people build businesses or do private lending. I think it's so important that we articulate that the ways that we have arrived here aren't necessarily, the only way. So I love that you bring
No,
this up,
gosh, no.
Mo.
Gosh, no. And I'm glad you said that. So I did start with single family.
Hmm.
I liked my jobs.
Yeah.
I stayed at my jobs. But what happened to me is I did single family from 2002 to 2015. And then I started to realize I wasn't growing anymore. This is
Mm.
when you realize that life is not about money. Because I was pressing repeat on my single family formula, just buying these little places, paying them off. Like some would appreciate, I would sell them, pay down the other ones, and then use my paycheck to keep paying stuff off. And in 2015, when I got back from a deployment, 2016, I got back from a deployment. I'm like, man, I've been doing this for 14 years. Like, I
Wow.
need something different.
Mm.
And that's what led me to a real estate seminar. And that's what led me, it was, I got an ad on Facebook. This is how I know they're listening to us. It's like they were in my head. I got an ad on Facebook about a multifamily seminar. And I went to it, one of those preliminary ones.
Yeah.
And I walked out in 7 minutes. I knew. I was like, I got to try that because I need to be challenged. I got to
Mm.
do something different. So my first real estate life was the financial freedom journey,
Mm.
where I covered my basic needs and I felt empowered by it. The second real estate life for me has been Quattro Capital and doing syndicated multifamily. We do fixed income funds now with investors, albeit accredited investors now.
Yes.
Um, because I wanted to try and figure out a way to help people do what I did, but faster. Right? Like people want cash flow, or people want to be in control, or just want to be part owner of an apartment complex just as a self-development tool to be around the Amy's and the Maurices and our partners of the world, right?
Yes.
Um, so the one thing that I want people to recognize, that a lot of real estate investors aren't even really there because of real estate. They were
Mm.
looking for a way to have a more abundant life through self-development. What can I do? And it just so happens that a lot of people who want to grow end up in the real estate space.
I love, Mo, that you bring up that part of this abundance journey. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but
Yeah.
I think you would agree, isn't just about taking care of ourselves or getting
Mm-mm.
what we want. It's it's this scarcity versus abundance mindset of, again, culture teaches us, what do I have? What do I need? How am I serving myself? And yes, I mean, if we use that, you and I both love to travel. If we use the put the oxygen mask on yourself before the other, the person sitting next to you, or the child sitting next to you, but the incredible abundance that comes when we are giving, when we are
Yeah.
serving. And I heard our business partner, Chad Sutton, say this once, that what he loves about real estate is the fact that we're all sitting on the same side of the table. If
Yep.
our investors are winning, that
We're
means
winning.
that our residents are winning. If our residents love where they live, they're
Hmm.
making our investors money. And then that flows to us as the owners. Everyone's on the same side of the table and wins together. And if we can help, to your point, our investors who are
Yeah.
looking for growth,
Yeah.
challenge, hands-off income, whatever their goals are, what an incredible way, what an incredible life and existence to have.
Awesome. It's awesome. We have the privilege. It's a privilege.
Mm.
We provide housing to people, and we're really fair about it. And it's not just a money-making thing, it's giving back to community. When you and I do real estate, it's beautiful, affordable housing. When the
Mm.
government does it, it's called projects. There's a difference. There's a difference. So I'm proud to be part of Quattro Capital and what we've accomplished. And even outside of Quattro, I have some mobile home communities. The lot rents in my mobile home communities are between $330 and $450. It's affordable, right? And there's 200 families there. It, it it gives me, actually, I'm selling one now, which is random, but it gives me joy to know that
Yeah.
I was part of that. So yeah, you do have to give back. But I will say, it's try life on principle that I talk with people about.
Yes.
It's okay to be selfish,
Mm,
to later be selfless.
okay.
That original journey for me, where I earned my financial freedom, has secured generations of my family.
Yes.
I had to focus on myself. And now I'm in a position to give back through Quattro Capital, through Try Life On, through the podcast I do, these LinkedIn Lives. I have a lot of experience and a lot of stories that can help people with stuff. So I never want people feeling like they gotta create a foundation on day one. That's not the
Mm,
point. Like, get yourself squared away, get yourself in a good position, cover your basic needs, pay down your debts, travel a bit, experience life,
yeah.
put some pieces on your chessboard, and then just give back. Give back everything that you've learned. That's what I try to do anyway.
I love this. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad you brought up Try Life On, Mo. I have to
Yeah.
let folks know. No, I
Yeah.
want to be fully transparent. A big reason why I wanted to do this LinkedIn Live was to talk about Try Life On.
Oh.
I had truly a pivotal experience, and this is so on the topic of abundance. Mo invited me to speak to his community.
Mm.
Incredible privilege, right? Mo, my mentor, a man who's guided me, who's been my business partner, had me speak to his mastermind, which was incredible. It was a great experience. I loved it. He also added me to his group chat for a week. And the conversations I heard, the mindset, the the strategizing, learning some of these principles that Mo teaches, I said, I've got to expose my network to this. I had
That's
Mo,
cool.
I took part of a podcast, I shared that with my network, but I've got a different set of folks that live here on LinkedIn that I'm connected to. And I want folks
Mhm.
to hear about this Try Life On brand that you have, because I know it's more than just a mastermind. So
Yeah.
well, can you tell us a bit more about that? Because truly,
Yeah.
people need to know about this. I'm so excited about it. I know others are going to be too.
You know, our common friend, Jerome,
Hmm.
I don't know if you know how this started, but it was Jerome, actually. I give him a lot of credit because I
Really?
went on my first podcast interview ever was on Jerome's podcast in 2019. And I told him the story that you know, all the careers, the real estate, the 100 countries, and all that. And he was like, why aren't you telling anybody? And but my whole nature of my whole professional life, or personal and professional life, is to not talk about it. I never talked about any of the stuff that I was doing because I never wanted the crabs in a barrel effect,
Okay.
ever.
Gotcha.
If I was tired in corporate one day, I didn't want someone in the office being like, he's not here because he was patrolling police last night. So I never told anybody. It was Jerome who pushed me onto LinkedIn to tell the story. I started telling the story, and organically, people started coming to me asking me to coach them on lifestyle design. I was like, what do you mean? So it just happened. Zoom and Dropbox is how I started. Then I started posting more systematically on LinkedIn. The Trilifone brand kind of, I needed a moniker to like express to people what I was trying to do, and it
Mm,
became the Trilifone brand. So effectively, Trilifone is a mindset, a skill set, a soul set. You know where I get that from, but it's a philosophy that you can literally, just like a garment, just like a costume on Halloween, you can try life on whenever you want to. This thing that we do because of 20 to 30 years of formal education telling
mm.
us what to be, what success looks like, be the CEO, be the partner, you don't have to follow that at all. It's just status quo default language. So I help people build lifestyle they don't need a vacation from,
Wow.
leveraging all these principles that I talk about. And it's been 300 people or so one-on-one at this point. There's probably hundreds of thousands of people in the community now. The podcast is on episode 100 this Friday, talking about the power of the subconscious mind. I
Wow.
have been exposed to people like Amy who are they're living life so intent. I don't have the market cornered on living life intentionally or living life abundantly. There's so many people who are doing it in different ways. So I track them down, I put them on the podcast, I write newsletters to help people, to help people's mindset shift. You
Mm.
can unlearn. We are neuroplastic. We don't have to follow what we do. So Try Life On was born, and I'm gracious about it. And there's a wonderful community online that sticks together, and we see each other all over the world. It's pretty cool.
I love that. A shout out to Jerome Myers. I just put his
Yeah.
link in the chat. If you all don't talk about flying under the radar, I'm always poking him. I'm like, more people need to know about Jerome. So
Yeah.
I put
Yeah.
his LinkedIn in the chat. But that's so incredible, Mo, that you went from not feeling comfortable sharing your story, maybe not necessarily seeking out to create this brand, but by just talking about who you are and what you do, and people, I'm
Yeah.
imagining thinking, oh my gosh, this is possible. Maybe a similar experience to what I experienced getting to know you, of, oh my gosh, maybe this was floating in the back of my mind. Maybe this is something I dreamed of. But here is a man that I can emulate, that can teach me steps, or a community that I can join of like-minded people. We all know how powerful communities can be in
Yeah.
shaping us. Uh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And what I look, if you take anything from it, from Try Life On, or from the way that I speak on LinkedIn, or how I talk about real estate, I want people to fundamentally understand that for me, life is about experiences and relationships. I think that is abundant living. There are 30 countries I could go to today and somebody will pick me up. I have very deep, meaningful relationships with people. I saw you in LA.
Mhm.
I flew to Vegas last or 2 weeks ago just to sit with someone in person who I had known for a while because I wanted to invest in them. Life is about experiences and relationships more so than about money and ego.
Mm.
We're, People are stuck in this money ego loop, not living abundantly because you're more worried about the opinions of peers, coworkers, neighbors, and many times family. And that pushes you to do stuff you never even wanted to do. There are people who are CEOs who never wanted to do. It's just that dad said you should be a CEO. Man, please live abundantly, build meaningful relationships with people, have experiences worldwide. No one at the end of their physical life is going to worry about the title. No one's taking money with us, but you will take those memories. You will feel that. And that's why I live the way that I do. I'm just building my life book with relationships and experiences, and I refuse to stop.
I wonder, Mo, how many people are living a life on someone else's terms without even realizing it, because it is just so common. It seems like one, and I don't, I'd love for you to outline this, but
Yeah.
a step would be maybe recognizing, why we're doing what we're doing. I think
Yes.
you talk in your, I saw you in your mastermind talk about, what your, I think, best day is, or ideal
Your
day,
perfect day.
your
Your
perfect day,
perfect
excuse
day.
me.
Yeah.
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 Can you tell us a bit more about some of these Try Life On principles, or what else you can
Sure.
share?
Yeah. Well, look, we all have programming. That's the point. 20 to 30 years formal education. This is the cycle that I express to people. Now, for some reason, the programming never stuck with me. I don't know why. Oh, I do know why. Because I took that trip when I was 15 years old to France for 30 days and it changed me. I was like, that was amazing. I want more of that. I was never interested in like climbing the ladder or anything like that. But here we go. Think about this. We are 10 years old. Or let's say we're in kindergarten. We are creative. We throw paint on the wall. We eat glue. We run. We hop fences. We skin our knee. We don't care. We're just living. I think we're as close to source as possible when we are kids. Then we get into grade school and compliance starts to set in.
Mm.
It just does. Johnny, take this note home to your mother, have her sign it. Susie, sit forward. Please pay attention. We get into high school and it starts to shift to competition. So now we're going from compliance to competition. Who's going to get into the AP classes? Who's going to be the prom king? Who's going to be the prom queen? Who's going to go to Harvard? Because that person is better than the dude who goes to the community college.
Right,
Like I went to
right.
University of Virginia, and people at my high school were like, "Why would you go to such a school?" It was weird. We
Oh,
take competition right into college, and it extends into the work world where Amy and Mo are competing for the executive vice president position in the cube by the window on the sixth floor.
right, right.
That's what pushes people to start chasing things that they never wanted in the first place. But I don't blame people because it's programming. It's just what people know. That's their version of success. That's what we've been taught. But for me, and relative to the Try Life On principles, status quo, it's just a default language. You don't have to accept it. You just don't. And what everybody should be doing is everybody should be taking what feels extraordinary to them, working at Accenture during the day, being a street cop at night, trying out for the NFL, acting on TV, living in coastal Maryland, living in Beirut, Lebanon. Everybody should be taking what they feel is their extraordinary and making it ordinary.
Mm.
But they don't, because they're stuck in the
Right.
old programming of, no, this is what success looks like. And what I'm trying to get across to people, especially in terms of abundant living, is define your own version of success. What does it mean to you? And my version of success is I have this nice gray, weird mock turtleneck on, but I got my Reese's peanut butter pants on because I'm home. That's my version of success. My version of success is being able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, with who I want. Expansive people, expansive places, doing expansive things. People got to unlearn and relearn.
Wow. Is it scary, Mo, for some people to venture into defining what success is for them? Do you
Yes.
find people that have blocks?
Yeah, because when I coach one-on-one or in the mastermind, when people write their perfect day, which is just a visioning exercise, adults have forgotten how to dream.
Mm.
They're not scared. They forgot. I want to play for the NFL. I want to live in the Mediterranean. You know how I am. I've been dreaming about living in the Mediterranean since 2001, and I refused to stop until I got it. The challenge is adults forgot how to dream. Even when people are writing that perfect day, most people's first iteration of it is a responsible one. We have to go back and rewrite and get people to redream and to feel what it's like to live an abundant life. It's not even where you are, what you're doing, what you're wearing. It's none of that. It's how you feel. Like my perfect day is being light, unencumbered, virtual business, being with the right people. I want, oh my God, 3-hour Mediterranean lunches on Sundays because it just makes me feel so plugged into the planet and earth. But people have forgotten how to dream, Amy. They have totally forgotten how to dream. If you can dream the right dream, the thing that sticks with you, the thing that sinks into your nervous system, your assumptions about life are going to change. And if your assumptions change, then your thoughts change. And when your thoughts change, your actions are going to be totally different. So if my dream is to live in the Mediterranean, I can feel it. Oh, then my thoughts are going to be on that all the time. Then my
Mm.
actions are going to be like, where's Mo? No, he's on another plane to the Med. But people don't do that. They're just defaulting. And I'm telling people that status quo is a default language you do not need to follow.
This is why I wanted you on here. This is the Mo passion that I saw. I'm like, I'm going to find a way to get this because I saw this. I'm like, LinkedIn world needs to see this. I love it. I love the passion because you
Yeah.
live it. This isn't just something you post about or you just,
No.
you deeply feel this and you want other people, going back to abundance, you want other people to feel what you feel, right?
Yeah. I feel alive. I am more happy at 49 than I could ever. I don't know what it's, how do I say this the right way? The things that I do, like go to Turkey to read a book for 2 days and come back, they're not extraordinary for me. It's just normal. People go to 7-Eleven or Walmart on the weekend. Like I fly to Turkey to read a book because my thought process is I can make the world smaller.
Mm.
Why is it that nobody does that? That seems weird to go to Frankfurt for the night to have a dinner. It's not weird to me. We're choosing what is we are literally choosing, we're accepting the herd versus being the individual who would like to feel something in life.
Mm.
I like to
Yeah.
feel, I like to enjoy, I like to be around the right people. And for some reason, people think that they need an excuse to live that way.
Right.
And I give people, in a lot of cases, I give people an excuse because I don't care. And what I try to get across to people, here's the kicker for people. If they really want to live an abundant life, here's how you do it. You understand that people's opinion of what you do and how you do it is none of your business.
Mm.
People's opinion of what you do and how you do it is none of your business. That just frees you. Because if it was, somewhere along the line, we started to believe that we had to convince everyone that what we do is right.
True.
But if you got to convince everybody, there's 9 billion people in this world. You'll never be done. So just stop. Don't worry about what other people think. Just do your thing. And you get so good at it, you get into this rhythm where you understand who you are and what you do, and your self-concept becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Life just continues to flow. It's not arrogance, it's just confidence in your own life.
Yes. So on that confidence in your own life, Mo,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone who said, "Hey, Mo, I'm afraid to dream because I'm afraid if I actually feel into that, what if I don't get there? What if I don't feel worthy? What if I don't have the ability, the resources?" What would you say to someone who's kind of that mindset and intimidated to even just go there?
Yeah, I would say go to try life on principle. Go from if only to what if. What if you do get there? Why are you're giving somebody who's saying that what they're doing is they are making an assumption that they will not get there. So
Right.
they will not get there.
Correct.
Point blank. You have to change the way you think. It has to start with your thoughts. Your outer world is a function of your inner thoughts. If your inner thoughts are negative, your outer world is going to be negative. Period. So I know it's hard, but it's not hard to think. Nobody can stop you from thinking. Nobody can stop you from dreaming. Nobody can stop your imagination. That's how you live abundantly. You start with your thoughts. And that's why you've seen me post, and I'm very hard on my coaching students about mental diets and controlling your environment. I do not want the thoughts of random social media in my head. I don't want the thoughts of traditional media news cycles in my head. I don't watch negative movies. I don't watch shoot 'em up movies. I only watch stuff that makes me feel good. You know why? Because it's your thoughts. And if you have positive thoughts, then your outer world is going to follow. So if
Mm,
someone's saying, I'm not going to do this because I think I'm not going to succeed, then you're not.
right.
I'm going to do this because I'm going to succeed. Okay. And then you do it without attachment to the outcome. It doesn't matter. You just do it anyway.
That's very different than what culture teaches. But I think for me, this really underlines getting in community, getting a coach, being around
Yeah.
people that are going in the same direction because we are
Mhm.
social creatures. And whether we like it or not, you can leverage this ability or this kind of aspect of human nature in your favor, or you can
Yeah.
use it against you. So if you want to use it in your favor, it is get around the people that are going or trying to go in the same direction or looking to use that
Yes.
neuroplasticity to change their thoughts, all of those things. It's a game changer. I remember when I first started to hang out virtually, because this was during COVID. I met you in
Mm,
March of 2020. This is actually
mm.
our close to 5 year
Yeah, I
quattro
love
anniversary, as I call it.
that.
No,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
even just hanging out with you all and Aaron and Chad and Mo and Tammy and Kim and Christy and all the great people
Yeah.
for on Zoom for several hours a day, my life started to change. I wasn't even near
Yeah.
you all physically. But the mindset, Erin started sharing every day that she was working out. I'm like, I got to go do this.
Yeah.
Mo's out there, doing great things, entrepreneur. I'm like, gosh, you start to change as a person by just being around different people. So how valuable
Yeah.
do you provide that to folks to try life on?
It's the names that you mentioned from Quattro, Kim, Chad, Tammy, Aaron, have pushed me.
Mm.
I I'm not the summation of those five. I'm better because of them. So and we argue all the time. It's like, but we push each other.
Yeah.
Okay. If you get around people who always say no, 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 then your life is going to be no. That's not possible. Don't do that. Johnny, sit down. Remember, compliance, competition. If you put yourself around people who are unapologetic about life, you're going to be unapologetic about life
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
going to push it. So that's why I started the Try Life on community. I realized that at some point, I was like, it can't just be me speaking up. Folks have to feel other people who want to live in a certain way. So once we all got into WhatsApp, it blew up because, and this is what I'm trying to do, not only with Quattro, but also with Try Life On, I'm trying to give people what I didn't have.
Mm.
I I I talk about entrepreneurial depression a lot. When I was on that initial journey from '02 to 16, it was very lonely. There was no Google. There was no, at the beginning, there was no LinkedIn. I couldn't find Amy. I couldn't find Chad. I couldn't find my now business partner on the mobile home parks, Dan. He was a neighbor of mine. But we're all there. We were craving to connect and to hear somebody say, no, I'm going to live my way. And it just became wildfire for everybody else because people want to live their way. People want to try life on. People want to get into real estate. People want to be around people like Amy. Nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy, but if you're around the negative Nancys all the time, that's where you're going to get. And I do want to say one other thing
Please.
about corporate. I don't dig on corporate. No one has ever heard me say anything negative about the fact that I worked for Accenture for 25 years.
Yeah.
But if you associate just with people in your company, then your life is going to be limited to the information in those four walls. So when I wanted to be a police officer and have an abundant life, I made friends with police officers. When I wanted to be a federal agent in the military, I made friends with federal agents. It wasn't I just wanted to sit in corporate. It's if you want to do something, you go associate with those people unapologetically.
Yeah.
But that's not what people do. They're like, well, I can't go associate with those people because I got to think about getting to partner here. And that's the only... Now, if that's your goal, fine. But people are defaulting to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love this concept of defaulting versus being intentional.
Yeah.
Really understanding where you want to go, taking intentional action, not just letting life happen to you, but taking that intentional action. So Mo, I want to pivot, if it's okay with you. I want to talk about the role social, I mean, we're streaming on LinkedIn Live. I want to talk about the role social media has played. I think this is an underutilized resource, and people may be saying, wait a minute, I thought you all were talking about abundance. How in the world does this connect to LinkedIn and social media? Let me know if this resonates with you, but I would argue part of both of our stories have been heavily influenced in a positive way through being active on social media, the connection, amplification. Can you talk a little bit about the role, and I'll share my story as well.
So social media is great, but you need to be intentional with it. It can be a double-edged sword.
Right.
It's one of the reasons for the reasons I told you before with the whole mental diet, it's why I left Instagram, because much of social media is what you have not done and where you have not been, and it causes people a lot of anxiety. So, and funny, when I left Instagram a year and a half ago, my life started to get better. I couldn't feel it, but it started to get better. But on the positive, social media is good if you use it the right way. On the positive aspect of it, man, you can connect with people in such unique ways. My Try Life On community and Quattro Capital community came essentially from LinkedIn. My clients come from LinkedIn. My investors come from LinkedIn. Now, I want to express to you how intentional I use LinkedIn. Ready for this? My son is an aspiring Olympic swimmer. You know that. Noah is swimming all the time. And back to imagination. Baby, what do you want to be? Olympic swimmer. Say, I am an Olympic swimmer. I am an Olympic swimmer. I don't know any Olympic swimmers. You don't? You give me 3 days, I'll find you one.
Yes.
I went on LinkedIn. I reached out to someone who lived in Lebanon who I found out that she was an Olympic swimmer. I tracked her down through DM. Wow. And when I went to Beirut, I met with her and her dad. By the way, her dad like owns all these shops across the whole country. So it was even better because I got to sit with a businessman in a country that I'm spending time in. And I connected my son with 2 Olympic swimmers just by using LinkedIn intentionally.
Wow.
It's a gold mine. If you can connect with people the right way, if you can, and people like, I don't have anything to offer that person. Why would they talk with me? No, you always have your energy to offer that person. Yes. Always. Yeah. Man, I'm so excited about what you do. It's an amazing thing. LinkedIn has been so good to me. Get my message across, find good people, but more so just connect. And last thing, many of the people that I've met on LinkedIn, I've met them in person.
Yeah.
I intentionally go meet certain people in person because while I appreciate LinkedIn, it's not real life. It's connection to real life. you have to be intentional to use it and get out and do the right things if you want to build relationships or do business and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, it's been very central to my life over the past 5 years.
It is a one-to-many platform. I'm pretty particular to LinkedIn over
Yeah.
other social media. You know,
Yeah.
there's an added level of, I wouldn't say professionalism in a kind of a nauseating way, but
Yeah.
you're using your real name. You're, you
Yeah.
know, you see people's real employers, where they went to school. You know, there is a level of kind of accountability and forced authenticity there.
Hmm.
But it is incredible in 2025. You know, I think where you and I both have arrived utilizing such a platform,
Hmm.
because we can travel. Travel's amazing, but we can hope to be in the right rooms, or hope we encounter the same people, hope we get those introductions. That's real. That can be effective. But you and I, who post regularly, just a post
Yeah.
can get us in front of people. I was speaking yesterday to the founder of Allergan.
Mm.
He's doing advocacy on Capitol Hill for people with rare diseases. I would have never come across him. He doesn't mind me
Yeah.
talking about it, but I would never have come across someone like that if it wasn't for social media. Who
Yeah.
knows what will come of that, who I may be able to help, what can happen on that level. And that's not even business. That's just, personal passion projects and things like that. Maybe he and I would have been in the same room. Maybe we would have had an introduction, but simple posts and talking about what we're doing,
Yeah.
adding value. Like you said, you've built whole businesses off of it.
I have Try Life. I don't know where it is now. It's probably close to seven figures at this point in revenue
Yeah.
over the past 4 years from coaching and certain speaking things that I've done.
Yeah.
Um, but the intentionality and the abundant living side of things, anytime someone comments on my post, to the extent that I can, I'm not always available, and I don't stay on LinkedIn all the time. So
Right.
I post, I comment on like five or six people's thing to try and add value, and then I delete the app off my phone for the day because I want to be intentional in life itself.
Mm,
I will, if I see something interesting, like the thing that keeps coming to my mind right now is Grayson Hogard.
okay.
I found him through, he commented on someone in my network and I saw something and it caught my attention. I went to look at his profile. Him and his wife, or left corporate, started a cookie company. I was like, really? So then I did the research and I was like, that's really cool. My Try Life On community needs to hear this story. Here's a guy and his amazing wife who had a thought. They had their imagination went wild. They started a cookie company in their house. Then they got in trouble because it was too big. They needed licenses and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Then they created a more industrial kitchen and da da da. They have this cookie company business. I reached out to him. I use the voice feature a lot on my phone. Like even when people comment, I will go to their profile and I'll be like, "Hey, I really appreciate you commenting today," and just talk to people that way.
Yeah.
And I got Grayson to come on the podcast, and we kicked it. And then he shared a story, and that's going to motivate other people to do.
Yes.
He's not making millions and millions, but they're making a couple hundred grand a year, and they're living a very intentional life.
Yes.
But that's all through LinkedIn. I use it very intentionally. I think people should do that as well.
Very measured. I like that. Because it can be all consuming as a big LinkedIn enthusiast myself.
Yeah, it can be for sure,
It
for
can
sure.
be. It can
Yeah,
be. And to your point, I've gotten in the habit over the past 3 years of posting something daily.
yeah,
And that may seem overwhelming to folks. For me, again, and we can dive into kind of how you intentionally use the platform.
yeah,
But for me, it was really, how can I add value as a practice, as a habit? And it doesn't have to be even a post every day. You can decide to comment on people's
yeah, yeah. Get out there.
content and build relationships that way.
Yep.
Relationships can be built off of comments. You can talk about something that you learned. You can talk about something that you're up to. I have even shared some other people's content because I think my network could benefit from that. And it's amazing what comes just in terms of folks getting to know you. By the
Yeah.
time I'm on the phone with folks, regardless of the purpose, they say, Amy, I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
I've never met them.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never had a conversation with them, yet they've seen me on LinkedIn Lives. They've seen my content. I share a little bit about my personal story.
Yeah.
And that accelerates relationships, regardless of
That's
the purpose of it.
It does. Someone had said to me the other day, you've been my best friend for 3 years, but you just didn't know it. That was by far one of the best compliments I've ever received.
Wow.
It's like, you've been my best friend for 3 years. Thank you. Like, damn, that's that's pretty cool. And yeah, so you don't have to be Gandhi.
Mm,
You don't have to be Dr. Martin Luther King. You don't have to be this great figure. You have something to offer.
right.
Everybody has something to offer, whether it's reaching one person or reaching, I don't know where I am, like 64,000 followers now. It's weird. I had no intention of it. I just did it without care for the outcome, but I'm starting to realize how much what I'm saying is helping people because I'm the unapologetic one and people are looking for an excuse. They can definitely come to me for an excuse because I could give a about what people think about what I do and what I say, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, get out there, post, read,
Mm,
engage. But to your point, it can be overwhelming for people, but so was riding a bike when you first started. It just
absolutely.
takes time. And for what it's worth, I get this question, Maurice, you post so regularly every day, and how are you doing it? What's your system? I don't have one. I get up, I think, and I post. But I have the benefit, back to real estate, back to Quattro Capital, back to my own stuff. I have the benefit of time.
Mm,
I don't have anywhere to be, right? And I work on the go. And I'm just so good at it now. I could be on a plane flying between Europe and the Middle East and I'm making my LinkedIn posts. So you get used to it after a time.
how did you get started, Mo? What made you want to start to post daily? Did you start posting daily, or did you start kind of in fits and starts? What did that look like?
It was fits and starts. I mean, it was the thing that Jerome suggested, like just get out there and let people know what you're doing.
Okay.
And then I noticed like I had maybe like 500 followers or something. And then I came back one day, maybe 3 days later, and there was 1,200. I'm like, wait a minute. And I posted again, and like a couple hundred more came. I'm like, oh, people care what I have to say. So I just got regular, and I model people, right? I don't reinvent the wheel. So I kind of spent some time with Justin Welsh,
Nice.
right? I paid for someone's time. I paid Justin a fair amount of money to meet with him for an hour, and I just asked him questions on what he was doing and how he was doing it. And that was enough for me. Then I was like, okay, I got to get regular. I'll do it once a day, maybe twice a day. I tried the twice a day thing. I didn't like it at all because
Mm,
you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. So what works for me is I think about something, I have a thought, I post it, I go about my business. But you do have to stay regularly because people get used to seeing you and they get used to when you post. They're looking for it. They're looking for inspiration. So I try and stay as regular as possible. And I missed a day because I was on a flight and I was tired. I'm like, ugh, I don't care. I got a direct message from someone saying, hey, I didn't see your post today. Are you okay? I don't
oh
even
my
know the person. They just wanted to check on my well-being because I usually post every day. So no system. I just get out there and I do it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I personally sit down every Sunday and write.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty analytical person. It's hard for me to
Mm.
get creative in fits and starts. So I sit down, I let my creativity flow. I LinkedIn has a native scheduler, so you can schedule posts
You
to
can
go
schedule
live,
posts.
which is really
Yes.
helpful. If
Super
you're
helpful.
busy, you're doing all sorts of things. But Mo, I think, even if folks aren't entrepreneurs, aren't investors, aren't, on this this side where you and I exist, I
Mm.
know folks that have corporate jobs that post and add value to their network just as a way
Mhm.
of giving back.
Mhm.
I think the other thing to think about, and I'm really interested, we'll get back to looking at the chat. But for most people, I think they don't realize that if someone Googles your name, and unless you have an extremely common name,
Mm.
um, your LinkedIn profile is going to be maybe the top one, two,
Yes.
or three links that comes up.
Yeah.
Really. So if you're looking to network, to get clients, whatever you're looking to do, people are Googling your name. It's a great
Yes.
idea to make sure your LinkedIn is, you've got a little bit of a presence going on.
Yeah, it's not just that either. I, for the first time, wrote my name in Chat GPT.
Oh,
And I was stunned. I was stunned. ChatGPT has picked up on the Try Life on philosophy, Quattro Capital. It says it it knew that I went on this real estate journey starting at age 21. Maurice has these philosophy. The information that you put there will help people get to know you. And I want people to know me for the reasons I told you about before, which is I think people should be living a very different way. Man. So, yes, you get information out there. It's helpful to people.
Mm,
But if you want to be quiet, if you want to be private, that's okay too. Like,
for sure.
it can be intentional, but it can also be overwhelming for certain people, and I get that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're coming up on an hour, Mo. This
Yeah.
was amazing. Are there any final kind of words of wisdom, ways to reach out to you? I'm sure folks are going to want to get to know and become
Sure.
closer. So what's the best way for people to reach out to
Well,
you?
obviously LinkedIn, since we're on
Yes.
that. You can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Trylifeon.com. So
Okay.
Trylife on.com. And Maurice at trylifeon.com. If it's real estate related, Maurice at thequattroway.com, or they can go to thequattroway.com for the real estate stuff and the funds that we do. Yeah, and I am active and I tend to respond to everything in due time, but I love talking to people, so for sure.
I love it. I love it. I put both of those in the chat. So, and then if we share these recordings, we'll make sure to get that
Yeah.
out there as well. This is great. And folks, if you want to get a hold of me, obviously I'm on LinkedIn as
Yeah.
well. For those of you who are interested in becoming a little bit more active on LinkedIn, I actually do a free profile audit if anyone's interested, just as a way to give back. So I'm going to put a link in the chat. If you're saying, "Hey, Amy, I just want to make sure my LinkedIn presence is all buttoned up and such," we do that. It's usually I normally charge a few $100s for that, but I'm happy to give that away for free. Well, this is incredible. Thank you so much for
My
sharing
pleasure. My
all of
pleasure.
this great wisdom. I think the timing could not be better. I think some folks really, now more than ever, want to define abundance on their terms, live life on their terms, and you're
Yes,
showing
and
them how.
you just prompted me
Yeah.
something. If folks go to trylifeon.com and they go to I'm pulling it up as I'm doing it, and they go to the newsletter section
Mm-hmm.
and go to newsletter 40, how to begin the TriLife process.
Okay.
That is a roadmap for people to execute the framework that is TriLife, which is your perfect day, your lifestyle blueprint, your financial blueprint, mindset related work. They don't necessarily, I mean, people can come to me for coaching and all that type stuff, but I tell people all the time, there are people who just follow the process and they're creating their own version of an abundant life. There are resources available. There's alternative thinking. Go to my newsletters or read Amy's post or find other people that resonate with you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are
Yeah.
people out there who are doing exactly what it is you want to do. But I did want to call that out because I was starting to realize that people were following the Try Life process. So I wanted to make it easier. So
Okay.
that newsletter will help people.
Newsletter 40, you said, right?
Newsletter 40.
Okay. We're trying life
How
40.
to begin the Try Life process. Newsletter 40.
All right. Beautiful. Mo, thank you
Cool.
for your friendship, for your
Yeah,
mentorship,
man.
for your business partnership,
You
and just for
too.
being such a great guiding light for so many of us, including myself. Really
My
appreciate you
pleasure.
taking the time.
You too. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.